You can be the leader of your own life. Everyone should lead their own life. You should be the leader of your family. And so I think everyone can be a leader, but there are different types and different styles of leadership. And I believe that leadership is a skill. It starts with having something that you're committed to that's larger than yourself, a vision that's bigger than yourself. If there's a large enough vision, if you have enough passion for that vision, then you're going to have enough drive to actually start to execute. And then leadership is the capacity to discipline your disappointment, because you're going to have to go through failures, and instead of making failures, you have to learn from those. And then it comes down to the skill of influence once again. And so anyone can learn, anyone can develop a vision, anyone can uncover their passion, anyone can learn to influence. That's a skill that can be learned. So yes, leadership can be taught and leadership can be learned. Can everyone be a leader? The answer is yes, because there's so many different things to lead in, and it's not a situation like you have to follow me for you to lead. I just have to know what it is I truly stand for. There aren't that many great leaders. Now, so then the presupposition for a lot of people will be then, well, it must be this innate talent. There are people that are born and upbred, you may be born with more certainty, like people are willing to take more risks. There certainly are people of that nature. But anyone can be a leader in something that they decide to become masterful in. I see it as a skill, a tool that all of us have to have. In other words, the quality of your life, I really believe, comes down to your level of leadership. Other people don't have to follow you to be a leader, but you have to live life on your terms. And the first person you have to influence is yourself. You know, whether you're fit or fat, whether your kids are on drugs or not, is who has more influence, the guy on the street corner or you. Whether you're fit or fat is, can you influence your own hands, your own body, your own mind to do what's necessary. So I think to be able to influence the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, and the actions of another human being, that's what leadership is. And quality leadership, obviously authentic leadership, is one where it's servant leadership. You're looking to influence those thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions for a greater good, not just for yourself. And I think the people that master that are the people that you know about. I mean, they're the captains of industry. They're people that are celebrities because they've learned how to influence people. They are some of the greatest teachers, some of the greatest scientists, because you can't just come up with ideas. Ideas will die on your lips unless you become a person of influence. There are two things that influence everyone. If you want to be a leader, you have to know how to change other people's states. A person is in a no state, a person's in an angry state, a person's in a frustrated state. You have to be able to influence their state, because if you change their state, you're going to change the result they get. But the second thing you have to understand is, what are people's blueprints? Blueprints, my shorthand for what are their values? What do they believe? What do they fear? I always say to people that life is found in the dance between what you desire most and what you fear most. If you're going to actually produce change, you've got to become a student of what actually works. Instead of complaining, you got to say, where are the skill sets valued in the marketplace? And how do I work harder on myself than anything else? Because if I become more valuable, then I will be able to give more, do more, and change more. We got to take other people on our teams and keep growing, and that's what's going to make your company invaluable. Not just recruiting new people, but constantly upgrading the skills of the people you have. Should really ask themselves the question, who am I in my core? Because we all have different gifts that we can give. And business, I think, other than love, your labor is probably the most sacred gift you can give any human being, because it's so much of your time, your energy, it's the essence of all you've developed in your life. If you look at it, there's three gifts you could give. There's the gift of a specific art, a skill set, an ability, a talent that you have. And many people are artists. They're not just artists like they paint. They have something that they're just so good at, and then they start a business because they go, you know what? I can design better clothing than the person I work for. Or I can write better code. Of course, running a business is more than just the art of it, right? And most businesses are started by an artist, and most businesses, fail. So if you look at that, you'd say, if I'm an artist, I'm gonna struggle because I'm gonna wanna do my art. A great business person says, it doesn't matter what I care about. I can't fall in love with my product or service. I need to fall in love with my client, and I got to constantly changing to meet their needs. Don't fall in love with your product or service, fall in love with your ideal client. That's a different game. There's another type of person who's more of a manager leader, meaning their gift is not a specific skill set, like selling or creating or something. It's managing people and processes, and they love it, right? And it's their nature. When it's your nature, you tend to get good at it if you work at it, right? Because it's just who you are. You're reinforced for it. And then there's the entrepreneur. And everybody calls himself an entrepreneur, but there are people that are entrepreneurial and there are entrepreneurs. And an entrepreneur by nature is different. They love risk. An entrepreneur is in it for the money, right? They might be in for other things too, but they do want to make money. The artist is not as committed to making money. They want to make money, but they want to do their art. They want to make that dress. They want to write that code. They want to do what they love. So if you're going to be a successful business person economically, you got to say, who am I and who do I need? If I'm a great artist, I probably need a good manager leader as a partner, because they're going to help me build the organization, and I can still do the art that people love, and I'm going to just make sure my art is what they want, not just what I want. If I'm going to grow and scale, who am I? If I'm a manager leader, I might want to tie in with a great entrepreneur, because there's going to be something much greater I can be a part of and own a piece of potentially if I'm there. If I'm an entrepreneur, I'm looking for great artists, because they're going to be the core of my business. I'm looking for great manager leaders. So you got to know who you are and who you need.
You're all about inspiring people and getting people to dig inside themselves. Where do those good ideas come from? Where should these people turn to find those right ideas?
The ideas come from looking for them, being obsessed to find them, and being clear about what you're looking for. I'm looking for something that's going to change lives in this way, or that I'm really passionate about in this subject, and that I really believe can have a margin. So I think that's one thing. I think the other thing is, it's all about creating the right questions. So I tell people, if you want to create innovation in your organization, if you try to do it like once a year rain dance, it never works. You got to train your people in a different way. And the way I do it in all my companies, and the way we've grown so much, is I am always bringing new voices to the table. New voices come up with new conversations, come up with new decisions, new ideas. So I met a multi-billionaire many years ago, now a good friend of mine, very private man. And I asked the most important aspect of growing his businesses. He said, every single year I bring somebody new to the C-suite. Every single year. And he said, and the reason is, new blood has fresh thinking. They have a fresh voice. They have a fresh perspective. And they shake things up a little bit. And he said, and I get somebody off the team. You know, he does the GE approach to things very often in that area, right? Then the second piece, though, is if you're getting those new voices, you want new conversations, so you need to ask new questions. If you try new experience, you get new voices, you're asking new questions, you're going to stimulate new answers. But most people do the same thing. And also, when you start saying, I don't have the idea, and you believe I don't have the right ideas, you don't even look for them anymore, right? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyone who is incredibly successful has failed more than other people. You just don't see it because they got back up so fast and they learned from it, right? That's really how it is. The fastest way to avoid failure is not to learn by your own experience, but to learn by other people's experiences, right? The way I believe in compressing decades into days, and the way you do that is modeling, once again. Finding someone who is the most successful in the world. It's taken them 20, 30 years, and digging in and figuring out what is the core essence of what's made them successful. What are the failures they had? What did they learn from them so you can avoid them? But the other part is, you also have to know that success is buried on the other side of failure. It's buried on the other side of frustration. It's buried on the other side of conflict. And so you have to see this as part of the natural evolution. We're all afraid to fail, but it's the only way to learn sometimes. I mean, when people succeed, they tend to party. When you fail, you tend to ponder. And in the pondering is when you usually get the growth, the insight, the strategy that'll change your business, that'll change your personal life, that'll change your finances. And so I think, I don't vote for failure for anybody, but to think you're not going to experience it is absurd. Right. The way to not experience it is to turn it into learning. The person that can go through failure like butter and it doesn't stop them, they just change their approach. Failure is only when you permanently give up. If you learned anything and you apply what you've learned, failure is a stepping stone.